Hi, everyone. You're welcome. This is Project Arena Consulting Services. We want to take you through just a quick introduction to Primavera Basics Professional Training. So when you launch your software, this is what you have. This is the interface. A very beautiful interface, isn't it? Now, what you see is the default interface for Basics Professional. The interface is divided into two horizontal parts. We have the bottom layout, and then we have the top layout. The top layout is further divided into two. So if you look at it, we have the left and the right. Sorry about that, the left and right layout. Normally, the left part is the tax or the information form or data entry form, or the left part contain the data, or it's a table, or it's a section that allows you to enter your project specific data. The right is the Gantt chart. Gantt chart on a time scale. You can adjust the time scale based on the size of the project, the duration of the project, and many other considerations. Now, when you take the bottom layout, it displays the project information. So you realize that the bottom layout has a number of tabs. Your general tab, date, notebook, topic, budgets, spending plan, summary, funding, default settings, and in fact, there are a couple more tabs you can show. So these are the displayed tabs on the bottom layout. These are available tabs we can add to the bottom layout. So if you want to add any other tab, you just click on it, then you nudge it over. You don't use this one. This one will take everything from here to the display tab. In the same vein, if you want to move any tab from the display tab you want to remove it from the display tab, you click on it and then you nudge it over, not this, because this will take out everything from here. So you want to add this, then it comes. Then you can use the arrow key to move it up and down. It cannot go down further. It can only go up, or it can come down. Then you apply. Now watch, we don't have calculate here. So you apply, then you have calculations added. Then you can say, okay. Now the information you have here at this point will be from the project you select. So depending on the project you select, right, whatever you see here will be the information about that project. Currently, we have a display of all the projects the organization is undertaking. So that is our enterprise project. What is the name of the enterprise? The enterprise is Project Arena Consulting Services. What projects is Project Arena embarking on? The project is broken down into engineering and construction, into product development, into information technology, training. We have energy related projects, and then some experimental projects. This is what we call the enterprise project structure. The enterprise project structure is a hierarchy, all right, showing the various projects the organization embarks on in a hierarchy. Let me show you something brief here. Now, when you look at this, you see something in the form of a work breakdown structure, kind of, where we have project arena consulting services. We have engineering and construction, which is this one, first one. We have product development projects, PDP, which is this one. Under project development projects, we have new product development, NPD, and then what's the name? Product improvements, PIP, product improvement project, PIP. When we come to information technology, IT, that is also divided into infrastructure projects and software development. So you can break down into software development, and then infrastructure projects, IP. When you come to energy, energy is divided into, say, for example, energy economy, initiatives, oil and gas, ONG, and then perhaps renewable energy. This is what we call enterprise project structure, EPS. So the organization is the enterprise. We call it the root. And then below the root, we have nodes. Nodes, N-E-O-D-S, nodes. Each node represents a major project classification or category the organization undertake. So we have engineering and construction. Under engineering and construction, we can even break it down further into what we call, for example, roads. We can have buildings. We can have bridges, or if you like, maintenance projects. It is engineering and construction, but what specific projects? So if we have roads, you know that even roads, there are different road projects you can have as an organization. So Accra Tema Motorway, it's a project, it's an engineering and construction project. It will come under roads. So when you come to engineering and construction, roads, you see Accra Tema Motorway. You see Nsawam Ofankor Highway. You see Accra Kumasi Expressway. All right, so you see all road projects under roads node, under roads nodes within the engineering and construction major nodes. If you have building projects, you will have specific project names for the various buildings. They will come under building projects, under engineering and construction. This does not mean that we cannot create projects directly under engineering and construction. It does not mean that we cannot create projects directly under project area. But this structure helps to clean up, it helps to organize, it helps to structure your project management or project documentation or project related, activities within the organization so that it helps in the category or categorization process. This is what we call EPS, Enterprise Project Structure. I'll show you how it is created. There is also what we call OBS, Organizational Breakdown Structure. This shows the hierarchy in terms of authority, responsibilities within the organization. All right. So again, within the organization, what is the organogram? Who is at the top? Who does what? And so on. That is the OBS. So we have EPS, Enterprise Project Structure. We have OBS, Organizational Breakdown Structure. So this is OBS, this is, EPS. So you will notice that this is one organization. These are the project types or how the organization has structured its projects. So anywhere you see plus, it means that you can open it further, right? And then we can fold all the projects under this organization, under this enterprise. We can open up, we have main nodes and sub nodes. There is a main node, the diamond shape is the main node, and then the sub node under it will be the various projects under product development projects. So if it is a new product, it will come under this. If it's an improvement on an existing product, it comes under this. But all of these come under the main node product development project. Again, when we open this up, this engineering and construction, the library project, products, commercial, this and this, and these are all construction types of projects, which comes under the main node engineering and construction will be EPS structure or EPS, Enterprise Project Structure. Right. Now, having looked at the interface, the data form, the Gantt chart, the time scale, the bottom layouts, let's look at the other aspects of the software. We have the directory bar on the left, then the command bar on the right. We have the tools bar, we have the menu bar, and then we have the Windows bar, right? This is called project windows. Okay, the window bar or whatever we can call it, right? So window bar. So every Windows in P6 we have 17 windows. So any window you open, the face or the interface, the layout will show you here. So now we have opened all enterprise. All projects have been opened. No specific project is opened. This is the default, showing all the projects, but we have not opened any specific project yet. Once we do, the name of the project that has been opened will appear here. All right. Then below the window bar, we have what we call the layout option window. Layout option window. Or the layout option bar. Right? So the menu on top, the toolbars below the menus, we have the active tab title bar or active tab or title bar here, displaying the windows that are opened. And then we have the window tabs, okay, the window tabs. So these are the window tabs. So you see all the various windows. And then we have the layout option bar. Layout, I'll tell you about layouts. Layout is a customized view of the information you can see, right? And once you start your project, there are a lot of information that you can display, but you can only display certain quantum of information at a time. You cannot possibly display all the information. P6 has over 156 columns. You cannot display all the information at a go. So at any given point in time, depending on what you want to show or what you want to report on, or what you want to work on, you may display some information. So the information you are seeing at any given point in time on your screen is what we call layouts. Right? And this is where we create them. We will look at that. So we call this window a layout option bar. Now, all the information you see here, right? All the information you see here on the directory bar, the command bar, the toolbar are shortcuts to commands you will see under the various menu tabs. Okay, under the various menu tabs, what you will see, okay, is what has been placed here for you in a shortcut form. Now you can add or remove by right-clicking, okay, and adding and removing whatever you want. Okay, you can even customize your toolbar to show what information or any information you want to show if they are not here. All right, you can customize it by clicking or unclicking or selecting and unselecting the information you want to show on your toolbar. Now, as you go through it, you will realize that there are usually more than one way of doing a particular thing, right? You will see a command here, and then you will see that command somewhere else, and then you will see it under some menu and so on. It all depends on you. So you see under view, we have bars. See the icon for bars, you have that bar here. See the icon for columns, we have this column here. All right, the time scale, we have the time scale here. Filter, okay, you see filter. So as you go through, or as we go through the lesson, you will see that there are almost always more than one way of doing one particular thing. And my responsibility is to show you the various ways you can do it. It is up to you to decide which way works best for you or which way you are comfortable with. You may not always want to work with the software in its default form. So what can you do? You can either choose to show the bottom layout or hide the bottom layout under the View tab or View menu. So you come to View, you have Show on top. At the top, this is what we can show at this particular point. These other ones are graded out because they are meant for activities. And at the moment, we have not opened any project yet, so we don't have any activity. That's why they are graded out. So we can show table. Table takes away the Gantt chart. Let's see, show on top Gantt chart, the table and the Gantt chart comes. We can also show on top the Gantt view. We can show on bottom, no bottom layout or details. Currently, we are showing the details. We can choose not to show the bottom layout. It takes out the bottom layout. This show on top and show on bottom can also be displayed or can be accessed through the layout option window, where you see show on top, show on bottom. And here we can only see project details or no layout. And at the moment, no layout is selected. If we select project details, we get it. No layouts. Now, the next thing we would like to do before we even start creating a project and place the project under a particular EPS structure, we need to understand how the EPS is created. So how is the EPS created? We go to Enterprise Project Structure. There are a number of commands here. We will go through them subsequently, but we will start with the Enterprise Project Structure. When you take the Enterprise Project Structure, this is how this organization has organized its projects. Again, this is also based on the kind of project the organization undertake. So you are always going to have an enterprise, in this case, Project Arena Consulting Services. In Project Arena, we undertake construction projects, product development projects, information technology projects, training programs, energy projects, and some trials. Okay, trials. We undertake some trials. Okay. Tests, case, projects, and stuff. Now, note something. You see, there is some form of hierarchy, and this is that hierarchy. See that sign here? We will expatiate on that. It's hierarchy. It shows that the projects or the structure has been organized in a hierarchical form. So look at the main project. See where the node is. This is the root. This is the root, the diamond shape, the root. You'll notice that the rest of the node are indented. All right, they lean forward. They are not on the same node as the main organization. So this is the organization. It means that all of these initiatives are the babies of this organization. That is why the organization can easily swallow the initiatives. They are the babies of the organization. They are the organization's creation or initiatives, projects. Now, you will see that E&C is, say, for example, the sun. Manufacturing project, product development project is the son of Project Arena. But NPD and PIP are the grandchildren of Project Arena. So always look at the notes. Product development project under that we have new product development, we have product improvement projects. These two comes under product development projects. So they are sub nodes, like I showed you through the drawing I did. When you take IT, we have sub nodes under IT. You take training, there are sub nodes under training. You take energy, there are sub nodes under energy. This is a new node you can create under energy. So we want to create a new node. How do we do it? If we want to create a new node, you either determine whether you want to create a main node or a sub node. So if it's a main node, you select a main node and then you add. That gives you a main node. All right? That will give you a main node. Then you nudge it in. The moment you nudge it in, you've made this a sub project under what if project. If you nudge it out, you made it a standalone project. So it will be just like the what if, it will be just like the energy, it will be just like training, it will be just like manufacturing or engineering and construction. So you see, it will be on the same node. Then each, you want to create a sub node, what do? You add, and then you node it in. So now you've created a sub node under this main node. You can give this node a name depending on the project category you are working on in your organization. So let's say that you left Project Arena, you went to a new company, you want to create an EPS for that company. You have to select this EPS and then you add. And then you nudge it out. Once you nudge it out, that becomes a separate entity on its own. Then you can create subnodes under them. All right, you can create subnodes under this EPS. Then you can name this maybe as a company X. So company XYZ. All right, company XYZ. Company XYZ. You realize that once you fold up Project Arena, this company also stays. This become a separate company. This will reveal its project structure. So maybe you do marketing activation project. Under marketing activation, there are some sub-projects under it. You do maybe ERP system for finance and HR. You can create finance and HR projects, and then you create your project your project structure. This is how the EPS is created. Once you finish, whatever you create will show here in this layout called the standard project view layout. So whatever we are doing here is what we are seeing. Once we close this, we have this EPS. So you left Project Arena, you went to join a new company XYZ, and then you created their EPS. Once you leave this company, you join a new company, you can create your EPS. So anytime you can always refer to the various projects that you've worked on, okay, and how the organization undertook its project and so on and so forth. This is EPS, Enterprise Project Structure. The next, after EPS, the next I want to talk about is OBS. This OBS stands for Organizational Breakdown Structure. Again, you are seeing the hierarchy showing that this arrangement is more or less like an organogram showing the hierarchy in terms of decision making, lines of command, lines of authority, and so on, communication lines, and so on. So from the top, project arena from the top, right, you have the managing partner. Who is the managing partner? There is a project director, there's a programs manager, there's quantity surveyor, there's construction technologies, there's IT consultant, there's someone in charge of energy, there's this, that. So this is the hierarchy. Once you click on the OBS name, the hierarchy changes into descending. So then we go from A to Z. When you click on it again, it changes to ascending. Okay. Z to A. So I don't know which one is descending or ascending, but A to Z and then Z to A, descending and ascending. When you click on it again, it gives you the hierarchy. All right. Now, for each of these resources, you can give a general description and then assign specific responsibilities. That will be done at a different layout, something we will look at subsequently. But how do you add? It's the same way we created EPS. You add, right? So this is project arena, managing partner, you add, and then you nudge it in or out or up or down, depending on where you want it to be. Then you do that. All right. And then responsibility will be added at the resource sheet. By the general tab, you can give some description of the resource or the OBS components. The OBS can be a department, it can be a unit, it can be a resource. The difference is clear. Resource is a human being, department, a unit, okay, are not human. So OBS can be units, sections, department, or even a human resource. All right. So instead of saying the managing partner, you could say maybe management or say engineering or say maybe something as accounts department or base of that. So you can replace the names with department or units, performing specific functions or projects. And then you give the functions or description of the functions that that unit or person or department will perform. Right, so you can type here, and this gives you access to fonts, sizes, and then colors, and all of that. All right, you can get access to all of that. All right, so that is about this, and then this normal stuff, right? And then numbering and outdent, indent, and here gives you access if you want to insert pictures or any documents and stuff, you can insert them from here. All right. And then you want to create tables, you can do so again from here. Right. So that's about the description, the responsibility bit. Once you assign any of these resources to an activity, then that's will appear here for you. That will be done at a later stage. This is OBS, Organizational Breakdown Structure. Now, having configured this for your software, the next thing you want to think about is the admin configuration. You may be the man in charge of your project planning, scheduling, project control, tracking, reporting, and all of that. Much of the work you do require you to access or to make use of certain artifacts. And those artifacts, you may create it yourself as an admin, or if there is an administrator, P6 administrator, then he or she may create it for you to use. So let's go through it so that if you are going to be the administrator or in charge, or you are working with a standalone software, then you should be able to create that. So when you come to admin, you can get admin preferences. You can access the same admin preferences from the Edit tab. All right, user preferences. You can access it from the admin preferences, or edit user preferences. It brings you to the same page where you can define things like the units, dates, currency, assistance, right? Where you can use the wizard to create a new project, or you can, you will be assisted. There is a wizard that will assist you in creating a new project. There will be a wizard that will assist you in creating a new activity. Or if you think you are more experienced, you don't need it, you want to check it out. All right, so this is this, and then a few other things we'll walk through at some point. Then application, show or hide IDs or code, show name or description, specify how to display code values, right? These are things we will do when we come to activities, when we are assigning activity codes, right? So we will come here and then we will look at how this will play out. So for now, we will keep to code. Financial period, right? Financial period data. So you may have to select a range to load financial period data. This we are reporting. We will come here to define the range. Password, yes, you have your software, you may want to input or add some password to it to control access. Resource analysis, we will look at time distributed data. This again comes in when we are looking at, reports. When we are creating reports, there are two main ways of creating reports. We will come there when we get to reporting. You understand time distributed data. And then calculations and then filters, right? These are backend configurations that are done to configure the software based on the output you want, based on the outlook you want, right? So we will go into the details of this, right? Restrict projects and tracking views to a summary data. We don't want to do that, right? So it's close. Now, the next admin configuration is the admin category. When you come to admin category, there are a number of tabs. All right, there are a number of tabs. We have expenses. So the expenses you will incur on your project, how will you categorize them? Are they administrative, equipment, hardware, consulting, software, facility, legal, materials, publishing, training? All right, these are expenses. Normally, these are one-time payments which will not will have to be treated separately. Normally, when it comes to project, the cost of an activity is a function of the resources assigned to the activities over the time period the activity will be performed. All right, but some of these costs are not necessarily recurring or variable costs. They are one-time costs, so we treat them as expenses. So we need to define the kind of expenses we will be incurring on our project. So your admin or your P6 administrator, or even you yourself will define that. In our organization, most of our expenses are administrative in nature, cost of equipment, hardware, software, consulting, training, legal, or whatever expenses that comes up or you incur in the course of your project. You will define it by simply adding. So you just add, then you give the name of the expenses so that once it gets to the activity stage and we need to incur some costs which are not regular resource costs, then we will be able to indicate the expense category for that particular expenses. Now, this helps us to be able to sort and filter. So all administrative expenses, we will see all the lists of expenses that comes under administration. So we can account for them or we can manage it effectively. We will look at, say, training. You will see all the trainings that has been done, maybe training on health and safety, training on this, training on that. So when we filter all training expenses, you see health and safety, you see project management training, you see quality management training, you see all the trainings that come under health and safety. So this is a way to group or categorize the various expenses for easy sorting, filtering, and management. So you need to define the expense category. The next is WBS category, work breakdown structure. So the kind of project you do, how do you define your WBS? It could be that your project is broken down into categories called initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and controlling, or closing. Some organization, you may have project broken down into, say, design, concept design, or feasibility, stroke concept design, substructure, superstructure, finishing, or exterior. All right. In your project, you may have different WBS. So you can create as many WBS as possible. All right. WBS category. The next is what we call document categories. And this is tied to an aspect we will look at called work products and documents, WP and docs. Now, these WP and docs are documents that are referenced on a project, all right? But the source is not on the P6 or is not in the P6. So we don't keep those documents in a P6 database. All right. These documents are normally outside of the P6 database, but we create a link, all right, to this document on our PCs so that people can easily access, or anyone with access to the software or the project can access those documents, provided the format or the document formats is compatible with whatever software the person trying to access is concerned. For example, if it is a CAD, AutoCAD document, or it is a Revit document or whatever file, if the person doesn't have AutoCAD or Revit, the person won't be able to open. If the document is, say, P6, XCR, or is Microsoft Projects document, or is a Word or Excel document the person doesn't have, the person cannot open it. We will look at that, WP and docs. So you are looking at documents you are going to attach to activities, to projects, to work breakdown structure components from outside the P6 database. And these documents will be in the form of contract. Maybe there's a contract variation. So there are change orders. It's been issued. So a particular activity being undertaken will have to be changed. And you have to ensure that those details are mentioned or attached to that particular activity. We will look at that. And you need to attach these documents to that activity. So once you attach the document, what category is that document fitting into? Change orders. It could be fit into contracts. It could fit into work order or requirements or request for information or anything, reports, or it could be business documents. So you are going to create what we call document category. We will look at examples of that. We will demonstrate that when we create projects, we create WBS and activities. We will make use of all of these to show you how interesting and comprehensive this tool is when it comes to managing projects. The next is document status. All right, again, WP and docs. The documents, say for example, a change order has been raised to make some changes. You've attached the change order. What's the status? It could be under review. We are now reviewing this change order that has been submitted. It could be approved. So the moment the next person sees, okay, change order, the change order has been attached, you can access the file, you read it. What's the status of that? Approved, on hold, completed, okay, under review, in progress, not started. So it helps in effective communication on the project. And anyone who accesses the project will be able to see what is happening, okay, in real time. Then we have risk category. We all know risk uncertainties we should expect on the project. And these uncertainties can be categorized. So you have project management risk, and this project management risk can come from anywhere. Prioritization, if we get our prioritization wrong, our requirements, planning, control, communication, all of these we can add on, okay, depending on the risk we see associated with the project. The category, we call it risk breakdown structure, the risk category. We can have risk associated with people. We can add as many as we can by just adding. We can have risk associated with costs. Okay? The risk may come from maybe inaccurate estimation or any other stuff. Risk associated with contracts, associated with time, okay, environment, quality, and so on. And then we have notebook topics. For notebook topics, they are also very important. All right. So we talked about document category and then notebook topic. Now, the difference between the document category and notebook topic is that notebook topic is usually P6 data. All right. So for example, let's show the bottom layout. Let's close this and show the bottom layout. Show on bottom project details. We have here, let's take this project and let's go to notebook topic. Now you see description, we have executive feedback. We can add as many notebook topics as possible. This gives us information about the project, about an activity, about a work breakdown structure component. So at the project level, these are the information that will help us to understand the project better, such as the active objectives, if there have been changes or proposed changes, what are the changes? We can talk about lessons we've learned so far on this project, or even from previous projects, how changes will be managed, what are the constraints on the project, what is the scope of the project, okay, a progress photograph, right? So this is where you can take pictures about ongoing work. So let's say progress photographs, you can add it, all right? Then you close progress photograph, then you edit, and then you come here, and then you select from your computer the progress that you have made, all right, which you captured, you save on your computer, then you post it, then everybody will see the progress of work. Now, once you do that, you can also write something. Okay, you can leave a message and then attach the pictures and so on. And then you say, okay, so this is how far we have come regarding work progress. See progress pictures attached. Then you come here, you browse, you look for the pictures you want to show. Where are you? Let me see if I can show something. Say okay. All right. Then you can resize it, right? You can resize your pictures to ensure that it works within the scope of what you are doing. All right. So that's about progress photograph. All right. So that's about this. In real projects, I mean, you make the necessary adjustments. Make the necessary, you can resize it. You can always resize it. Right. Yeah, so you can type whatever you want to type, and then the pictures will come under it. You can have as many pictures as possible, right, to show your stakeholders progress of work. All right. So this is what we call notebook topic. So when you come here, you see that all of these may be necessary to convey a certain narrative or to convey a certain understanding among the project team, the stakeholders, or even anyone connected to the project sponsor or whoever is interested in the project's progress or activities or information. Now, this thing you see here, all right, these notebook topics, see it as a document containing project-related information. You have to create it. If you don't create it, you won't have it. This is here because the P6 administrator has created it. And the creation, or this has been created because this is the information the P6 administrator or the project organization feels must be available to enhance understanding of the project. All right. So that is where we were, admin categories, and then notebook topics. Now we have a number of them here. And you see that for each of them, you either you'll be able to assess it at the EPS level, project level, WBS level, or activity level. So if these boxes are checked, it means that at any stage within the project, you will see it. So EPS, this is the EPS level. When we open a project, you see it at the project level. When we open a WBS, you see it at the WBS level. When you open an activity, you will see it at the activity level. So this one, resource brokering, okay, resource brokering. You have not indicated it at the EPS, at the project, or at the WBS level. You can only see it at the activity level. So look at it, resource brokering. Let's go to add, and let's see if you see resource brokering. You will not see it because we have not approved it to be available at the EPS and the project or the WBS level. All right. So this is where we create the notebook topics. All right. This is where we create the notebook topics. And then you indicate the access level by checking the boxes. You can always come here to uncheck or to check to make it available. If you want to add, you can just click add, and then you add a new notebook topic, and then you determine the access level, and then that's it. If you want to take out, you delete, say yes, okay, and then you have your notebook topic. You can move up and down using the shift up or shift down key, depending on where you want it to be. But in this case, I don't think there's any importance as to where it is, because wherever it is, you can access it. So that's about notebook topics. And then we have currency, unit of measure. This unit of measure. All right. So normally when it comes to projects, we work with resources, and the resources are a function of the cost. All right. The resources are a function of the cost. And we want to be able to determine the cost per unit. So we need to define the units of our resource. All right. So the unit can be each, it can be cubic meter, it can be bags, it can be linear meter, liter, kilogram, numbers, square meter, tons, and so on and so forth. So we need to define the unit so that we can determine the cost per unit to be able to build up our budget. So you can just add other or extra units if the units you work with regarding your resources are not here. So you add them up, right? And then if you want to delete, you can delete. If you want to edit, you just double click on it and then you can edit it. All right, so that's about it. So these are basic admin functions you will have to define before you start your work. The next is currency. All right, so currency, you will have to define your currency. All right, if there's a currency you're working with and it's not here, you have to make sure you create it. And then you select the currency you want to work with. All right, the default currency is the USD. Right, the default currency is the USD. But when you create a new project, you can select the currency you want to work with from the available currencies. So you just have to create a new currency, add, you define the currency ID or symbol, the currency name, and so on and so forth. So that's about the currency bit. And this you need to define for your project. I think the last one has to do with the financial period. We will look at that, the financial period calendar. We will look at this when we come to calendar. All right, so that's about the period. So for P6, you define how much you pay resources per period. So say, for example, you may be using January to December 2025 estimate or cost estimate or budget or anything of the sorts. So you need to define that. So that is what this is about. We will look at that in detail when we come to um, resources and assignments and calendar. So technically, you have configured your backend. You know your interface. When you come here, you can show or unshow, okay, based on the information you want to display. I said this is the directory bar, and the checked ones are information on display. You can uncheck. Okay. Some of them are graded out because we haven't opened any project yet. These ones are graded out because we haven't opened any project yet. Once we open a project, let me see. So we've opened a project, P6 professional training. So you see all these features have been activated. And you see we now have a project opened. So now the project tab will be active. And this is where you see the work product and docs, the WP and docs I was talking about. All right, now you have activities, your additional activity view, and all of these are now available. And then when you open all the tools, they are all going to be active. All right, now you can look at tab groups. These tab groups can further divide your work view, okay, into vertical halves where you have this column showing activities, right? And this showing other things, all right? So means your view has further been what divided. So you have project view here, you have activity view here, then you have activity details, and then of course you have project details showing here. Now you can merge all tab groups. It will take you back to where you were. You can go back there again, view, tab groups, horizontal. So it's giving you something different. All right. We will explain this into detail in subsequent lessons. So view, merge all tab groups. All right. And then toolbars. Again, we talked about toolbars. All these bars you are seeing here, or all these commands you are seeing here, on the toolbar, on the directory bar, on the command bar, are all within the menus. So they are more or less like shortcuts for you. So I showed you initially, the cut you are seeing here, the delete you are seeing here, that is it here. The add you are seeing here, that is it here. The cut is what you are seeing here. Copy. So you see copy here, that's what you are seeing here. Right? So there are several ways you can do things in P6. Yours is to understand how it is done and which ways you can do it and which way is your preference. Right? So that is the P6 professional uh, software, and just a brief walkthrough of the fundamentals, the basics, to familiarize you with the interface and a lot more. I mean, to familiarize you with the interface. I mean, there are a lot more you can learn, okay, subsequently when we meet in class. Right, so this is the interface. We've opened a project. This is a P6 project. And then in this project, you see we have an activity. there's a project. Now we can shift this to show the order in which we want it. And take notes. Once you click on the project tab, the window tab, this becomes the active window tab. It means that the window that is opened or the face or the view, the layout you are seeing will always be at the top here. When we come to activities, it will always be here. Now, this project, these activities, I want to see the WBS. This is the WBS. So I'll nudge it over WBS. This is the work breakdown structure of this project that's been opened. And this is the activities. So you notice that when you look at the WBS, software download, install software. I mean, this was one of the trainings we were looking at, right? So it wasn't any like serious real world project, just to understand the concept. All right. So this is the project P6 professional. That's what you see here. The project code, the BBS code. Okay, that is the P6 PT. All right. So when you come to activities, this is the project, and then this is the various WBS elements. Let me open it. Let me reduce the bottom layer so you can see it all. So this is the work breakdown structure. And these are the activities under each WBS. And then these are the activity details, okay, at the bottom layouts. And in fact, there are more tabs that can be added to the display bar based on the information you want, based on your preferences. So that is the quick walkthrough I wanted to have with you. I'll see you again sometime very soon. You can always reach out to us at Project Arena. You can check the details when the next class starting, then you will enroll. You will learn a lot, build your confidence, and you will be on top of your game when it comes to project control. Thank you.